What happens when a leaked tape doesn't just damage one person's reputation, but puts an entire marriage in jeopardy? That's exactly the storm Martell's shocking leak has stirred up, leaving love and marriage, Huntsville fans speechless, and the fallout might finally be pushing Marsau and LaTisha to their breaking point. Divorce rumors, betrayal, and a scandal no one could have predicted are now front and center. This revelation turns the whole situation upside down. And trust me, what's hidden inside this tape is even more explosive than anyone expected. Love and marriage, Huntsville has always thrived on messy drama. But this latest bombshell has rocked the fan base in a way we haven't seen before. For years, Marsau and LaTisha Scott were held up as the couple who could survive anything: whispers, criticism, even endless clashes with their castmates. But with Martell Holt's leaked tape now out in public view, that polished image of unity may have cracked right in front of us. What makes this scandal sting even more is its timing. Just when it seemed like Marsau and LaTisha were rebuilding the fragile trust in their marriage, the tape dropped, and now talk of divorce is louder than ever. Fans are already questioning, did Martell do this intentionally? Is the recording even real? Or is there a deeper layer behind it? And more importantly, what does this mean for the Scotts' marriage? A relationship that's always been one of the most hotly debated on the show. In today's breakdown, we're digging into everything surrounding this shocking situation, from Martell's alleged tape and the wild accusations tied to it, to the cracks in Marsau and LaTisha's marriage, to the way this scandal might permanently shift the entire love and marriage Huntsville dynamic. We've got it all covered, and believe me, the twists and turns are nothing short of jaw-dropping. So buckle up, because what starts with a single leak quickly spirals into betrayal, blame, and consequences that could end in the divorce courts. And the craziest part, this still might not be the whole truth. To understand why Martell's leaked tape is such a nuclear bomb, you've got to look back at the messy, intertwined history between Martell Holt, Marsau Scott, and LaTisha Scott. These three weren't just co-stars on Love and Marriage. Huntsville, they were connected from the start as close friends, with deep ties in both business and personal life. Marsau and Martell were once considered practically brothers. They worked on projects together, backed each other up, and presented a united front whenever the cameras were rolling. But as fans know, that tight bond has been tested time and again, especially when whispers of cheating, rumors of infidelity, and questions about how each man handled his marriage kept surfacing. Martell's own scandal lit the fuse for everything that came afterward. His long-running affair with mistress Ariane Curry became one of the show's biggest and most controversial storylines. For years, Martell denied it, dodged it, and insisted there was nothing going on. But once the truth spilled into the open, his entire image imploded. His marriage to Melody Holt collapsed, his credibility crumbled, and the devoted family man persona he built his reputation on came crashing down. And this is exactly where Marsau and LaTisha's situation starts to get messy. From the moment Martell's cheating became public, fans began speculating that Marsau wasn't squeaky clean either. Martell himself poured gasoline on the fire, hinting that Marsau had secrets of his own, including alleged affairs that the fanbase has never stopped dissecting throughout most of the show. LaTisha has found herself constantly standing in defense of her husband against those relentless rumors. She has time and again insisted that Marsau has never been unfaithful, that their marriage remains solid, and that Martell's attempts to label him as a cheater are nothing but desperate distractions. Over and over, she has remained firmly by Marsau's side, even when other cast members, like Melody, questioned whether she was simply being naive. LaTisha refused to waver. Which brings us directly to the current firestorm surrounding Martell's leaked tape. The fragile trust LaTisha has worked so hard to preserve with her husband is once again being tested. The whispers have grown louder. The blogs are running wild. And now, fans are speculating that this could finally be the proof showing Marsau has been hiding something all along. What makes it even messier is the complicated dynamic between Martell and Marsau themselves. Their friendship has long been tangled with accusations, shady comments, and sharp public digs. So if Martell really is the one behind this leak, it's not just betrayal between two friends, it's a devastating strike that could end up unraveling both families at once. And this is where the story takes a darker turn, because if the tape really does implicate Marsau in the way some claim, LaTisha may be forced to face a truth she has spent years refusing to accept. Could this finally be the moment she says enough is enough? Before that question can be answered, we need to break down what this tape allegedly contains and why it has fans and cast members completely stunned. When the first reports spread that Martell Holt had a leaked tape in his possession, many brushed it off as just another one of his attempts to stir chaos. After all, Martell is notorious for tossing out accusations and half-truths whenever he feels backed into a corner. But this time, the whispers weren't just empty gossip. They came attached to claims of receipts. According to several sources, making the rounds on blogs and fan forums, the leaked tape supposedly contains conversations and even compromising footage that tie Marsau directly to behavior outside of his marriage. The details differ depending on who you ask. Some say the tape is audio only, with Martell secretly recording private conversations where Marsau openly admits to cheating. Others insist there's actual video evidence showing Marsau in situations that could easily be read as incriminating. It's that very ambiguity that gives the scandal so much weight. No one has seen the full tape publicly, yet the hints alone have been enough to spark endless speculation. Fans are now combing through old episodes of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, pointing to moments where Marsau looked uneasy or when LaTisha passionately defended him, and asking the question, has the truth been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Even more unsettling is the timing. The tape supposedly surfaced right as Marsau and LaTisha were celebrating milestones in their marriage, projecting unity and promoting their businesses together. For a couple that has fought hard to display strength, this leak feels like a deliberate move aimed at shattering that image, which leaves us wondering, had Martell been holding onto this bombshell all along, waiting for the perfect opportunity to drop it? And let's not forget, this scandal ain't only about Marsau. The collateral damage lands directly on LaTisha, a woman who has built her entire public identity around being a loyal wife and a devoted mother. LaTisha has remained by Marsau's side through every wave of rumors, often clashing with Melody and others who suggested she was simply ignoring the truth. But now, this tape isn't just embarrassing. It threatens to make her look like she's been defending a lie all along, and with its release, the entire Love and Marriage, Huntsville cast has been thrown back into complete chaos. For years, the show has fed on scandal. But even by reality TV's standards, some lines cut too deep. A leaked tape isn't just gossip. It's invasive, personal, and explosive. It takes whispers and speculation and turns them into something that feels dangerously close to solid proof. Already, fans online are completely split. Some believe Martell is exaggerating everything, claiming this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to drag someone else down with him. Others are convinced the tape is authentic, and that the Scott's marriage may now be hanging by a thread. Social media is already ablaze with memes, reaction clips, and endless debates, with hashtags calling out both Martell and Marsau trending across platforms. But here's the real kicker. Even without the full tape being made public, the damage is already done. Once trust shatters at this level, it's nearly impossible to piece it back together. And for LaTisha, just the possibility that Marsau might be guilty could be enough to finally push her toward divorce. Yet the biggest question still hangs in the air. What exactly does Martell gain from this? Why choose now to bring forward a tape years after whispers about Marsau's alleged affairs first surfaced? Is it revenge, desperation, or something much more carefully calculated? Because here's what most aren't realizing. This leak may not be only about Marsau and LaTisha's marriage. It could also be Martell's attempt to reshape his own narrative, redirecting the focus away from his scandals and planting the target squarely on someone else. In the world of reality TV and celebrity drama, timing is everything, and with Martell Holt, the timing has always seemed suspiciously deliberate. On the surface, it's easy to assume Martell dropped this tape purely to get even with Marsau. Their friendship, once thought to be unbreakable, has been unraveling. For years, think back to when Martell's affair became public. He repeatedly hinted that Marsau wasn't as spotless as he pretended to be. He threw shade in interviews, made suggestive comments, and pushed the idea that he wasn't the only husband stepping outside his marriage. So from Martell, exposing Marsau now could feel like long overdue payback. His way of saying, if I had to fall, then you're coming down too. But when you dig deeper, his motives appear far more layered. Martell's own reputation lies in ruins. He lost Melody. His marriage fell apart in front of cameras, and his efforts to rebrand himself as a businessman and co-parent haven't fully restored his image. Many viewers still see him as manipulative, reckless, and unreliable. So what better way to draw attention away from himself than by dragging someone else's marriage into the spotlight? By linking Marsau's name to this leaked tape, Martell isn't just stirring chaos. He's successfully shifting the entire narrative. Instead of fans revisiting his past scandals, the spotlight is now fixed on Marsau's alleged infidelity and LaTisha's possible breaking point. It's the oldest trick in the book, deflection. In Martell's mind, if Marsau's marriage goes up in flames, maybe his own mistakes won't burn quite so brightly. The very thing LaTisha has worked so tirelessly to avoid may now be staring her directly in the face. For her, perception has always been everything. She's said more than once that she refuses to give her critics, or her castmates, the satisfaction of watching her marriage fall apart. But behind the cameras, sources claim she's completely heartbroken. Imagine dedicating years to proving that your relationship is unshakable, only for a tape to suddenly appear that threatens to validate every single accusation made by your harshest critics. That kind of emotional weight could break even the strongest partner. And what about Marsau? He's brushed off rumors before. But this is a whole different battlefield. And like passing whispers, a leaked tape isn't something you can easily dismiss. Marsau has always prided himself on being calm, articulate, and composed under fire. But if this tape is authentic, his credibility takes a devastating hit, not just as a husband, but as a businessman and public figure as well. For years, he's carefully presented himself as a man of integrity, someone sharp enough to argue, charm, and maneuver his way out of tough corners. But the real question is, can even Marsau's smooth wit and clever words spin this kind of scandal into something survivable? Now let's talk about those divorce papers. Are they legitimate, or just another rumor floating around? Reports online suggest LaTisha has at least spoken with lawyers about her options. If true, that marks a dramatic change in her mindset. For years, she refused to even consider leaving Marsau. Her stance was rock solid. Their marriage was unbreakable, and no rumor could destroy them. But after Martell's explosive leak, her silence has been telling, and it's raising eyebrows. The fact that LaTisha hasn't quickly shut down the speculation makes fans wonder if she's finally starting to think about the unthinkable. And here's where things get even more tangled. The Scotts are not just a husband and wife, they are a brand. Their businesses, their storylines on reality TV, and their public image are tightly woven together. A divorce wouldn't just strike them emotionally, it would carry massive financial, professional, and very public consequences. It could reshape how fans view them, how they operate on the show, and even what opportunities come their way outside of it. For some couples, Divorce happens quietly behind closed doors. But for Marsau and LaTisha, it would play out as a televised unraveling. And that's a risk neither of them may feel ready to face. But let's be real about the elephant in the room: pride. For years, Marsau and LaTisha have positioned themselves as the couple who rises above the mess, the ones who endure while others collapse. A divorce would mean admitting that the rumors weren't just smoke, that there was fire burning all along. For Marsau, it would mean losing control of the narrative he's fought to maintain. For LaTisha, it would mean letting go of the image of resilience and strength she has built brick by brick, season after season. So where exactly does this leave them? Stuck somewhere between damage control and total destruction. If they stay together, they'll face endless scrutiny, fans dissecting every smile, every photo, every public moment. If they separate, they'll face sensational headlines, relentless speculation, and the painful reality of unraveling not just a marriage, but an empire. And here's the most shocking twist. Multiple insiders claim LaTisha has already begun taking steps to protect herself financially. That could be the first sign she's preparing for life after Marsau. Whether it's consulting attorneys, shifting assets, or building safety nets, it shows she's no longer simply waiting for the storm to pass, she's bracing for the worst. Which leaves us with the looming question: have divorce papers actually been filed? Or is this just another chapter in the Scott's long-running saga of resilience and rumors? Right now, all signs suggest that even if LaTisha hasn't officially filed, the marriage is balancing on the thinnest ice it's ever seen. And if Martell has more ammunition still hidden, that breaking point could arrive sooner than anyone expects.